The community room buzzed with tension as residents filed in for the emergency HOA meeting. Maria stood at the front, her small group of allies flanking her. She could feel the weight of Ada in her pocket, the AI assistant's presence, a comforting reminder of the facts and figures at her fingertips. As the board members took their seats, Maria caught a glimpse of nervousness flitting across the president's face. Mr. Harrison, a longtime board member, avoided eye contact entirely. "Let's begin," the president announced, his voice echoing in the packed room. "I believe Ms. Rodriguez has some concerns to address." Maria stepped forward, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "Thank you. Residents of Coral Palms, what I'm about to share will shock you." For the next 20 minutes, Maria laid out her findings. She presented charts showing the inexplicable rise in HOA fees, highlighted discrepancies in the financial reports, and revealed the bylaw clause, requiring resident approval for significant increases. The room erupted into chaos. Shouts of anger and disbelief filled the air. "Order, please," the president called out, his face flushed. "These are serious allegations, Ms. Rodriguez. Do you have any proof?" Mr. Goldstein stood up. "As a matter of fact, we do. We've compiled a comprehensive report, which I'll be submitting to the state attorney's office for review." The board members exchanged panicked glances, all except one. To everyone's surprise, Mrs. Chen, the newest board member, spoke up. "She's right," Mrs. Chen said quietly. "I've suspected something was amiss for months, but I couldn't prove it. I'll corroborate Ms. Rodriguez's findings." The revelation sent another wave of shock through the room. The president, now visibly sweating, called for a brief recess. As the board huddled in a corner, Maria felt a tap on her shoulder. It was Jake, the tech-savvy neighbor who had initially been dismissive. "Maria," he whispered urgently, "I've been monitoring their emails like you asked. You need to see this." He thrust his tablet into her hands. Maria's eyes widened as she scanned the screen. It was an email chain between the president and an unknown party, discussing damage control and covering tracks. Just as Maria was about to announce this new development, the lights in the room suddenly cut out. In the confusion and darkness, she felt the tablet being snatched from her hands. When the lights flickered back on seconds later, the board members were gone. The tablet was nowhere to be found, and pinned to the bulletin board was a notice. "Due to unforeseen circumstances, all board members have tendered their immediate resignations." The room erupted once again, this time in a mix of triumph and bewilderment. But Maria stood silent, her mind racing. This wasn't a victory. It was the beginning of something much bigger. "Ada," she whispered, "we need to track that email. Something tells me this goes beyond our building." As the residents around her celebrated, Maria couldn't shake the feeling that they had just scratched the surface of a much larger conspiracy. The board's sudden disappearance, the missing evidence, the mysterious emails, all pointed to a web of corruption that likely extended far beyond the walls of Coral Palms. The confrontation had ended, but the real battle was just beginning.